I'm right back at you with another one, and today we have an exclusive. This is none other than Dart Man 079 Dart Man ABM Dart 079 Dart Man, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say rest in peace to 079 Dart. Man, we gonna get right into this, man. You may have heard his name tossed around by, man, let's see, bruh says on Dart, man. Lil Reese says on Dart, man. You know, I think I even heard Dirk, excuse me, say something about Dart before, man. So we gonna find out just who Dart is today, man, or was, excuse me, was. Rest in peace to him, was. So what we gonna do, man? Without further ado, definitely hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. I am back. We are dropping back to back again, and this week is a new week for potential Foia requests. I will be going live. You need to have your notifications on. Just a brief break. I'm back, man. I didn't go anywhere, man. I know y'all happy to have me back. I'm happy to be back. All right. So without that, without anything else being said, let's jump into this paperwork, man. It's what we came to do today. So we have a case supplementary report, man. This is an exceptionally clear close of the exceptional report, man. And this document has about 157 pages, and there are two parts. So buckle up, man. Here we go. All right, we have a homicide and a first-degree murder. Number of victims 1, number of offenders 2, number of arrested 2. All right, the date of occurrence was July 14, 2011 at 23:15 hours, man. The date that this form was submitted was a date that is redacted, but 2020 at 2020 hours. That's interesting. All right, and the date that this was approved was December 18th, 2020 at 08:59 hours. All right, this is a field investigation, exceptionally clear, close, other exceptional report. Victims 1, Prince D'Artagnan, individual, male, black, 24 years of age. His date of birth year is 1987. His description would be 6 feet 375 pounds, black hair, short hairstyle, brown eyes, dark brown complexion. Sobriety is unknown. We have offenders listed as a 1, Ricky Pearson, alias Cockeye, male, black, 22 years, date of birth year 1988, birthplace Illinois, description 5 feet 10, 162 pounds, black hair, dreadlock hairstyle, brown eyes, dark complexion. Scar marks are redacted. All right, his listed criminal organization is redacted as well. Another offender listed, Bradley Jonathan, in custody, alias male, black, alias JJ, male, black, 24 years, date of birth year also 1987. All right, description 5 feet 9, 260 pounds, black hair, short hairstyle, brown eyes, medium brown complexion, facial hair, mustache / goatee. All right, now we're getting down into the victim's injuries. Victim injuries are a gunshot wound. Weapon was a handgun, 9mm. All right. He was transported to a hospital by a beat officer, it seems. Vehicle info we have here is a Cadillac sedan 4-door. It is the victim's vehicle. All right. Prince D'Artagnan. It was a white-on-white Cadillac. All right, let's see. We got some autopsy information, gunshot wounds, cause of death. Weather and lighting clear, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Lighting artificial street light, so probably at nighttime. Other properties were covered here. We're looking at some fired shell casings, some more fired shell casings, additional fired shell casings. Location found on victim's vehicle at front windshield hood area. Fired bullets. He had on a red sweatshirt, white t-shirt, 1 high top gym shoe, 1 white sock, black pair of black green boxers. All right. Okay, we're getting down to other individuals involved. Potentially witnesses: male, black, 41, female, black, 39, female, black, 33, male, black, 17, and listed criminal organization for the male, black, 17 is redacted. You can see an S at the end. All right, the next individual is male, black, 42, male, black, 24. His listed criminal organization is redacted. All right, and we're getting down into the incident notifications. All right, and now we're at an investigation. We have victim listed as Prince D'Artagnan, male 124. All right, his gang affiliation has none documented. In custody, offender number 1, Bradley Jonathan, male 124. Gang affiliation documented, redacted. All right, now we're getting down into the charges on this next document. Charges: arrested for first-degree murder, released without charging, RWOC. Date and time of location of arrest is a 73rd East 656th Street. All right, and this is for one Ricky Pearson. We have additional individual with charges, arrested for first-degree murder, released without charging as well. Injuries: one gunshot wound to the lower left chest, one gunshot wound to the left heel, one graze wound to the right buttock. Taken to Cook County Medical Examiner's office. Date and time of pronounced July 15, 2011 at 23:25 hours. All right, and we have location of incident, and we have manner and motive listed as victim shot / prior altercation between victim and shooter. Victim's vehicle, a 2002 white Cadillac DHS. We have some photographs from the scene of seems to be some gunshot wounds, fired bullets, subjects in lineup. All right, we have some interviewed individuals: female 142, male 126, female 139. All right, we're at an investigation. On July 14, 2011, Detective Robert Burns and Detective Andrew Burns were assigned to investigate a homicide that occurred at 5732 South Emerald. The detectives responded to the scene. Upon arrival, the detectives observed the scene to be secured by both yellow and red crime scene tape. The 5700 block of South Emerald consisted of primarily single-family residences. The detectives observed the victim, now known as D'Artagnan Prince, lying face down and unresponsive. Prince's vehicle, a four-door white Cadillac, was parked at 5734 South Emerald with the keys left inside. There were 10 fired 9mm cartridge casings scattered in the street from 5732 to 5740 South Emerald. There was one fired 9mm cartridge casing discovered on the hood of Prince's vehicle, on the vent near the windshield wipers. Beat 5804 arrived and photographed and processed the scene. The detective spoke with one of the officers on scene from Beat 711R. Police Officer Marco Torres stated the following in essence and not verbatim. Prior to the murder, he and his partner were assigned to investigate a suspicious person at 5731 South Emerald. The suspicious person was described as a male black with dark-colored clothing who was sitting on the porch at redacted. Torres stated that they located the subject, redacted, and he told them that he was waiting for redacted. A protective pat-down was conducted on redacted with negative results, and a name check revealed no warrants. Torres stated that they were leaving, and he observed Prince talking, redacted. Approximately 10 minutes later, Torres stated that he heard 6 to 8 gunshots. Torres stated that they returned to the 5700 block of South Emerald and observed Prince lying on the ground, face down and unresponsive. Prince's redacted were notified on the scene. Prince was pronounced on the scene at 23:25 hours by EMS Commander Eastman from CFD Engine number 18. The medical examiner's office was notified, and M.E. Denson number 1 authorized the removal of Prince's remains. Prince was assigned M.E. case number 236, July 2011, and his remains were subsequently transported to the medical examiner's office. A canvass was conducted by Detective Beth and Detective Bill. Detective SVEC interviewed at 5735 South Emerald. Redacted stated the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted stated that she was sitting on her porch and she observed Prince, redacted, talking in the street. Redacted stated that a two-door black Blazer drove up and the occupants in the vehicle had a brief conversation with Prince and they drove away southbound on Emerald. Redacted related that a few minutes later she observed two unknown black offenders approach Prince on foot. The two offenders stopped at 5731 South Emerald and had a brief conversation with Prince. Redacted stated that offender number 1 pulled out a chrome handgun and fired several gunshots at Prince. Redacted stated the offender number 1 then fled eastbound through her gangway. On July 15, 2011, Dr. McGillicott performed an autopsy on Prince's remains and determined the cause and manner of death to be multiple gunshot wounds / homicide. 2011, an investigative alert with no probable cause to arrest was initiated for Redacted. On July 21st, 2011, Redacted arrived at Area 1 for the purpose of viewing a photo lineup. Redacted was presented with a lineup advisory form which Redacted read and signed. Redacted then viewed the photo lineup and identified Ricky Pearson as the offender that walked up to Prince with the shooter. On July 21st, 2011, an investigative alert Redacted with probable cause to arrest was initiated for Pearson. On July 23, 2011, the Illinois State Police Forensic Science Center at Chicago generated a laboratory report regarding the murder of Prince. An examination of the 11 fired cartridge casings from the scene revealed no latent impressions suitable for comparison. On August 2, 2011, Pearson was arrested and transported to Area 1. Pearson was placed into interview room number 3 with the ERI equipment activated. Detective Robert Burns and Andrew Burns interviewed Ricky Pearson. On August 2nd, 2011 at 16:30 hours, Pearson was advised of his rights by Detective Andrew Burns in presence of Detective Robert Burns. Pearson stated that he understood his rights and he waived them. The detective told Pearson that he had been identified as the individual that was the shooter when Prince was shot and killed. Pearson stated the following in essence and not verbatim. Pearson stated that he sold weed at 56 and Emerald. Pearson stated that on July 14, 2011, he was at the basketball court at 56 and Emerald when he was approached by a subject that he knew as Redacted. Pearson stated that Redacted wanted to buy some weed. Pearson stated that he didn't have any weed on his person, but that he had some at home. Redacted. Pearson stated that he walked down Emerald to 58th Street and then walked over to Union. Pearson stated that he walked alone and he observed Prince Redacted talking to each other on the 5700 block of South Emerald. Pearson stated as he got closer, an unknown male black ran out of the gangway and fired several gunshots. Pearson stated that Prince was shot in the chest. Pearson stated that he took off running. Pearson stated that he did not get a good look at the shooter's face. Redacted was then contacted and she arrived at Area 1 for the purpose of viewing a live lineup. Redacted was presented with a live lineup advisory form which she read and signed. Redacted viewed the lineup and identified Pearson as the individual that she saw with the shooter when Prince was shot and killed. Pearson was then re-interviewed. Ricky Pearson on August 3rd, 2011 at 0139 hours. Pearson stated the following in essence and not verbatim. Pearson stated that he was looking in the bushes for weed when he heard the gunshots. Pearson stated that he did not see Prince get shot. Pearson stated that he took off running. The detectives asked Pearson if Redacted. Pearson stated Redacted was a fake Redacted that he grew up with. Pearson stated Redacted also sold weed. Pearson stated that he knew Prince and he knew that Prince drove a Cadillac. Pearson stated that he knew Prince for approximately 3 years and that he never had a problem with Prince. Pearson stated that the person who shot Prince went by the nickname JJ. Pearson stated that JJ was from the 5600 or 5700 block of South Michigan. Based on the information from Pearson, the detectives identified a possible JJ as Jonathan Bradley. Pearson was presented with a lineup advisory form which he read and signed. Pearson viewed the photo lineup and did not identify anyone. Pearson stated that JJ had dreads and also went by the nickname of D-Block. The detectives informed Pearson that the witness clearly stated that the shooter did not have dreads. Pearson then stated, "If I tell you who did this, I'm going to be the next victim." Pearson stated that JJ's picture was in the photo lineup and requested to look at it again. Pearson viewed the photo lineup and identified Bradley as the shooter and the person that he knew as JJ. Pearson stated that on the day of the murder, Prince rode up on 56 and Emerald in his white Cadillac. Pearson stated that he spoke to Prince briefly and Prince drove off southbound on Emerald toward 57th Street. Pearson stated that Bradley walked up to him and asked him if it was Prince that he was just talking to. Pearson stated that he told Bradley it was. Pearson stated that Bradley told him that Prince owed him $5,000. Pearson stated that he started walking southbound on Emerald from 56 to get the weed at his house and Bradley started walking with him. Pearson stated that as he and Bradley approached the middle of the 5700 block of South Emerald, Bradley slowed down, said something to Prince, and Prince responded. Pearson stated that Bradley then pulled out a chrome handgun and fired it at Prince. Pearson stated that he saw Bradley shoot Prince in the chest. Pearson stated that he ducked and ran. Pearson stated that after Bradley finished shooting, Bradley ran eastbound through the gangway of 5735 South Emerald. Pearson stated that he called out to Prince, redacted, to see if they were alright. Pearson stated that Prince didn't respond. On August 4th, 2011, at 0230 hours, redacted was released without charging due to insufficient evidence. On August 8th, 2011, at 2312 hours, Bradley was arrested and transported to Area 1. Bradley was placed into interview room number 3, and the ERI was activated. At 23:55 hours, Detective Andrew Burns advised Bradley of his Miranda rights in the presence of Detective Robert Burns. Bradley stated that he understood his rights and he waived them. Bradley stated the following, in essence and not verbatim. The detective informed Bradley that he had been identified by witnesses as the individual that shot and killed Prince. Bradley denied that he shot Prince. Bradley stated that on the day of the murder, he was dropped off at 56th and Emerald, redacted, and he never walked to 57th and Emerald. Bradley stated that the only reason he was on 56th and Emerald was to buy some weed. Bradley stated that he didn't really know Prince like that, and he didn't talk to Prince. Bradley stated that he didn't know why anyone would say that he was a shooter. Bradley stated that after he purchased weed on the 5600 block of South Emerald, he heard several gunshots. Bradley stated that he then ran eastbound from Emerald. On August 9, 2011, at 20:44 hours, Bradley's attorney, redacted, arrived at Area 1. After Bradley's attorney left, Bradley told the detectives that he was advised by his attorney not to talk to anyone. On August 9, 2011, at 22:28 hours, Redacted viewed a live lineup and positively identified Bradley as the offender that shot and killed Prince on July 14, 2011. On August 9, 2011, Redacted was located and he agreed to come to Area 1 in order to be interviewed. The detectives interviewed Redacted. Redacted stated the following, in essence and not verbatim. Redacted stated that on July 14, 2011, before the shooting occurred, he was stopped by the police on 57th and Emerald. Redacted stated that the police ran his name and he came back clear. Redacted that the police then left. Redacted that right after the police left, Prince pulled up in his vehicle and asked to buy some weed. Redacted that Prince had been buying weed from him for about 8 months. Redacted that he told Prince to park his car. Redacted that Prince parked and exited his vehicle. Redacted stated that the police pulled up again and asked him, redacted, if he had a gun in the car. Redacted stated that he told the police that the car was Prince's car. Redacted stated that the police left and he saw a black Chevy Blazer drive on the block southbound. Redacted stated that as he started to walk westbound in the gangway to get the weed for Prince, he heard approximately 7 gunshots. Redacted stated that he ran through the gangway and then southbound through the alley, down the alley. Redacted stated that he ran. Redacted stated that he never saw the shooter. The detectives contacted the Cook County State's Attorney's Felony Review Unit, and ASA Garcia was assigned to review the case. Upon arrival at Area 1, ASA Garcia was apprised of all the facts of the case and read all of the reports. ASA Garcia requested additional witnesses and he continued the investigation. On August 10, 2011, at 20:50 hours, Bradley was released without charging. On July 11, 2019, the reporting detectives were assigned to continue the investigation of the murder of Prince. The reporting detectives reviewed the evidence. The reporting detectives learned that there were 11 fired 9mm cartridge casings recovered from the scene of the murder. There were 4 cartridge casings recovered in the street on the east side of Emerald near the curb at approximately redacted. There were 6 cartridge casings recovered in the middle of the street from approximately 5732 through 5734 South Emerald. There was 1 cartridge casing recovered from the hood of Prince's car on the driver's side by the windshield. Prince's car was parked on the west side of the street by the curb at approximately 5734 South Emerald. The reporting detectives learned that there were 2 laboratory reports. On August 23, 2011, the Illinois State Police Forensic Science Center at Chicago generated a laboratory report regarding the fired cartridge casings. The 10 cartridge casings recovered from the street were all fired from the same firearm. The cartridge casings recovered from the hood of Prince's car was fired from a different firearm. On August 30th, 2019, the ISP Forensic Science Center at Joliet uploaded a laboratory report to the clear system regarding the 9mm cartridge casing recovered from the hood of Prince's vehicle. The actual date this report was generated was March 15, 2012. From this report, the reporting detectives learned that a 9mm semi-automatic handgun was recovered from an incident that occurred on February 26, 2012. An individual named Redacted was arrested in Harvey, Illinois, and charged with 2 counts of attempted murder of a police officer and 1 count of aggravated battery with a firearm. A 9mm handgun was recovered. This handgun was later fired, and it was determined that the cartridge casing recovered from the hood of Prince's vehicle was fired from this handgun. The reporting detectives learned that Redacted. On February 6, 2020, the reporting detectives traveled to Redacted, interviewed Redacted. Redacted stated the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted stated that he was a member of the Redacted street gang. Redacted stated that the handgun that he was arrested with was from the streets. Redacted stated that he did not know where the gun came from originally. Redacted stated that prior to taking it, the gun was kept on the block in the vicinity of 64th and Dr. Martin Luther King Drive in Parkway Gardens. Redacted stated that he took the gun the day that he was arrested with it. Redacted stated that he went to a club in Harvey and he got into a conflict with some guys. Redacted stated that he started shooting and the police arrived and started shooting at him. Redacted stated that he never aimed or shot his gun at the police. The reporting detective showed Redacted a photograph of Prince. Redacted stated, "That's Dart. He was killed." Redacted. Prince grew up in the same building at Redacted. Stated that his Redacted and Prince's Redacted stated that Redacted died approximately a year after Prince was killed. Redacted stated that on the day that Prince was killed, he was with Prince at a music studio in the vicinity of 54th and South Wabash. Redacted stated that when Prince left by himself and he said that he was going home. Redacted stated that several hours later, he was at Redacted when his Redacted received a call that Prince had been killed. Redacted stated that he and his Redacted drove to the scene and it was blocked off by the police. Redacted stated that he saw Prince's Redacted there and he heard Redacted to some of Prince's Redacted who were also on the scene. The reporting detectives asked Redacted what a possible motive could be for Prince's Redacted to want Prince, dead. Redacted stated that Prince sold drugs and he always had a lot of money. Redacted stated that Prince, Redacted, might have been jealous of Prince and all the money he had. Redacted stated that he did not know why Prince would be in the area of 57th and Union. Redacted stated that one of Prince's Redacted might have lived in the vicinity, but he wasn't sure. Redacted stated that he never heard who was responsible for Prince's murder. The reporting detective showed Redacted photographs of Ricky Pearson, Redacted, and Jonathan Bradley. Redacted did not recognize any of the photographs. The reporting detectives asked Redacted if he recognized the names Ricky Pearson, Redacted, or Jonathan Bradley, and he stated that he did not. Additionally, Redacted stated that he did not recognize the nickname JJ. The reporting detectives returned to Area South. Detective Sullivan contacted Redacted, and interviewed her telephonically. Redacted stated the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted stated that she had been very Redacted with Prince's Redacted stated that earlier during the day that Prince was killed, Redacted had been with a Redacted, including her Redacted. After Redacted left the group, she received a phone call that Redacted was dead. Redacted stated that Redacted called Redacted, who she had been with earlier, and she told them what happened. Redacted stated that her Redacted then called her and told her what happened. Redacted stated that she and Redacted went to the scene. Redacted stated that she did not know any of Prince Redacted and that Redacted never told her that any of Prince Redacted were involved in his murder. Redacted stated that she never heard any names of who was responsible for Prince's murder. On February 7, 2020, Redacted texted Detective Sullivan and requested that he call her. Redacted was interviewed telephonically a second time. Redacted stated the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted stated that after talking with Detective Sullivan the day before, she remembered additional information. Redacted stated that it was redacted name, redacted, who called her to tell her about Prince, not her, redacted. Redacted stated that redacted was one of the redacted who had been with redacted earlier on the day that Prince was killed. Redacted stated that when she arrived on the scene, redacted was already there. Redacted stated that redacted was extremely distraught and she was yelling and crying. Redacted stated that redacted was attempting to cross the crime scene tape to get to redacted. Redacted stated that Prince's redacted was also on the scene. Redacted stated that she heard redacted yell at Prince's redacted. That redacted killed redacted. Where is redacted at? I'll kill him. Redacted stated that she later heard that Prince was supposed to have met with redacted on 57th and Emerald to do a drug transaction. Redacted stated that she heard that Prince might have gone to buy weed. Redacted stated that she heard that Prince's cousin arrived on the scene. Kelly Redacted stated that she also heard there were guys on the scene from the area of the Redacted building and they were upset. Redacted stated that Prince's Redacted told Redacted to leave for his own safety. Redacted stated that she did not know the Redacted stated that Prince had nice cars and a lot of money and people were jealous of him. On February 7, 2020, the reporting detectives contacted Prince's Redacted and set up an interview. Redacted the next day. On February 8, 2020, the reporting detectives interviewed Redacted. Redacted stated the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted stated that a few weeks before Redacted killed, Redacted told him that he had gotten into a physical altercation with an individual named JJ, now known as Jonathan Bradley. Redacted stated that Redacted told him that he had beat Bradley up. Redacted stated that when he arrived on the scene where Redacted was killed, Redacted were already there. Redacted stated that he later learned that Redacted grabbed Redacted's cell phone and saw that there had been recent phone calls between Redacted. Redacted stated that he and Redacted believed Redacted had called Prince to 57th and Emerald and set him up for Bradley to shoot him. Redacted stated that Redacted had been close at one time. Redacted stated that Redacted was jealous. Redacted stated Redacted was currently in custody at the Cook County Department of Corrections for a murder. The reporting detectives later learned that this murder occurred on May 19, 2014 at 8414 South Kedzie under RD number Redacted. Redacted stated that approximately a year before Redacted was killed, Redacted had been shot during a robbery on the east side of Chicago. Redacted stated that Redacted, when this occurred, the reporting detectives later learned that the robbery occurred on May 8, 2010 at 9058 South Stony Island, and it was reported under RD number Redacted. Redacted stated that after the robbery occurred, Redacted told him that money had been stolen from Redacted during a burglary. Redacted stated that Redacted told him that Bradley was the person responsible for taking it. The reporting detectives later learned that this burglary occurred at Redacted on October 13, 2010, and it was recorded under RD number Redacted. The reporting detective showed Redacted a photograph of Redacted. Redacted stated that he did not recognize him or the name Redacted. The reporting detectives asked Redacted if he knew Redacted, and he stated that he did. Redacted stated that Redacted used to be a Redacted, but he did not remember her Redacted. After the reporting detectives left Redacted's house, the reporting detectives contacted Redacted and set up an interview at his home for the next day. On February 9, 2020, the reporting detectives interviewed Redacted. Redacted stated the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted stated that on the day Prince was killed, he was Redacted when he received a call, Redacted, telling him that Prince had been shot. Redacted stated that he immediately drove to the scene. Redacted stated when he arrived, Redacted was already there. Redacted stated that he redacted what Prince had been doing over there at 57th and Emerald. Redacted stated that Redacted told him that he didn't know why Prince was there. Redacted stated Redacted told him that he had not heard from Prince all day. Redacted stated that he did not believe Redacted. He asked Redacted to see his cell phone. Redacted stated that Redacted wouldn't let him see his phone, so he Redacted snatched Redacted's cell phone from him. Redacted stated that he looked at the call log on Redacted's cell phone and he saw that Redacted had recently had a phone call with Prince. Redacted stated that he then confronted Redacted about the phone call. Redacted stated that Redacted then told him that he had let some female use his phone to call Prince. Redacted stated that Redacted told him that the female was supposed to meet Prince on 57th and Emerald to buy 2 bags of weed. Redacted stated that while he was on the scene, he spoke Redacted that Redacted stated that he asked Redacted if he had seen any suspicious individuals or cars on the block. Redacted stated that Redacted told him that the person that Redacted had just been talking to, Redacted had been on the scene for the last 20 minutes. Redacted stated that he did not understand how Redacted had gotten to the scene that quick. Redacted stated that Redacted from the area of 79th and Kedzie. Redacted stated that Prince was a Redacted. Redacted stated that approximately a month before Prince was killed, Prince told him that there was a shootout. Redacted stated that Prince told him Redacted shot at him and tried to kill him on 79th and St. Louis. Redacted stated that he did not know why Prince would have spoken Redacted shot at him. Redacted stated that Prince's cell phone was never recovered by Redacted or the police. Redacted stated that someone must have taken Prince's cell phone before the police arrived on the scene. On February 21st, 2020, at 12:30 hours, the reporting detectives interviewed Redacted at the Cook County Department of Corrections regarding the murder of Prince. Redacted had been convicted of murder and was still at the CCDOC due to an appeal. Essence and not verbatim. Redacted stated that he was Redacted Prince and that they were close. Redacted stated that he lived with his Redacted around Redacted and that Prince lived with his Redacted around Redacted. When the reporting detectives told Redacted that they were there to interview him about Prince's murder, Redacted stated that Prince was killed on July 14, 2011. He knew the exact date. Redacted stated that Prince was a Redacted and that he was not associated with the gang. Redacted stated that Redacted was his Redacted. Redacted stated that on July 14, 2011, he spoke to Prince several times on the cell phones and they had planned on meeting later that day to just talk and hang out. Redacted stated that both he and Prince knew people on the 5600 and the 5700 blocks of South Emerald. Redacted stated that both he and Prince had Redacted who lived in the area 57th Street and Emerald. Redacted stated that he had dated Redacted there from 2006 through 2008 and that Prince Redacted also stated that he and Prince hung out over there because there used to be a lot of street parties in the warmer months. Redacted stated that when he arrived on Emerald, the police were already there and he saw Prince's vehicle parked on the street. Redacted stated that he looked closer and saw Prince lying on the ground. Redacted stated that he told the officers that Prince Redacted, so they allowed him to identify Prince. Redacted stated that he then called Redacted to tell him. Redacted stated that he heard that Prince had been robbed, but was not sure. Redacted stated that he did not know the motive for Prince's murder. Redacted stated that he knew Redacted because Redacted lived in the neighborhood. Redacted stated that Redacted told him that Redacted had spoken to Prince when Prince arrived on the block. Redacted stated that Redacted said that Redacted had left and that when he returned, the shooting had already occurred. Redacted stated that he had seen Redacted in the CCDOC about a year ago. Redacted stated that Prince had been shot about a year before he had been killed. Redacted stated that he and Prince had been at a club and that when they left, they went in different directions on Stoney Island. Redacted stated that he heard gunshots and learned that Prince had been shot and robbed. Redacted stated that the offenders had also hit Prince with a bottle and snatched Prince's earrings off. Redacted stated that after this incident, Prince left town. Redacted stated that Prince was selling a large quantity of cocaine and that Prince made a lot of money. Redacted stated that Prince had nice clothes and nice vehicles. Redacted stated that Prince was secretive and he distanced himself from the neighborhood after the shooting. The reporting detectives then showed Redacted 5 central booking photographs. The results are as follows. Redacted. Identified D'Artagnan Prince. Redacted. Redacted. Identified. Redacted. Redacted. Stated that he recognized both Ricky Pearson and Jonathan Bradley from the area of 57th Street in Emerald, but that he did not know their names or nicknames. Redacted recognized Redacted as being Redacted Prince. Redacted stated that Redacted, and he believed that Redacted was a Redacted. Redacted stated that he had not heard that anyone had been arrested regarding the murder of Prince and that he had not heard the name of the shooter. On March 10, 2020, the reporting detectives and the ASA traveled to Holland, Michigan to interview Redacted, who was an eyewitness to the murder of Prince. At 14:20 hours Eastern Time Zone, Redacted was interviewed in her residence. Redacted stated the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted stated that she lived in the Redacted, stated that she had lived Redacted, stated that she now has Redacted. Redacted stated that she had been renting the house Redacted. Redacted stated that in 2011, Redacted. Stated that she would Redacted. Redacted stated that on July 14, 2011, she got a ride home after work from Redacted. Redacted later looked at photographs. Redacted stated that Redacted identified Cockeyed for the detectives. The reporting detectives then showed Redacted a photograph of Ricky Pearson. Redacted identified him as being the individual that she referred to as Cockeyed. Redacted stated that several days later, Redacted returned to Area 1 and identified Pearson in a live lineup as being Cockeyed. Redacted stated that several days after Redacted returned to Area 1 for a third time and identified Fat Boy in a live lineup. Redacted stated that the detectives made each of the lineup participants say the phrase, "Call him for me." The reporting detectives then showed Redacted a photograph of Jonathan Bradley, and she identified him as being the individual that she referred to as Fat Boy. Redacted stated that Redacted has set Prince up to be killed. The reporting detectives then showed Redacted a photograph of Redacted. Redacted stated that she had seen Redacted in the neighborhood before that. She has never seen Redacted hanging out with the guys from 5600 block of South Emerald. Redacted stated that she moved to Michigan in July 2017. Redacted stated that she never had any issues with Redacted, Pearson, or Bradley before. Redacted stated that her block, the 5700 block of South Emerald, was a much quieter block than the 5600 block of South Emerald. Following this, Redacted agreed to have her statement memorialized on video. ASA conducted the interview in the presence of both of the reporting detectives. Detective Sullivan videotaped the interview. ASA LaHood conferred with the supervisor, ASA Deputy Supervisor Kim Ward. ASA Ward requested that Redacted appear before the grand jury in order to have her testimony memorialized. In March 2020, the rise in COVID-19 cases in Chicago occurred, and the grand jury shut down before several months regarding obtaining grand jury subpoenas for witnesses in cases not yet charged. On June 14, 2020, the reporting detectives were contacted by Redacted. Redacted stated the following, in essence and not verbatim. Redacted that they looked at each other, but nothing was said. Redacted to continue to cooperate with the investigation. The reporting detectives made numerous attempts in September and October 2020 to make contact with Redacted with negative results. Finally, on October 18, 2020, the reporting detectives spoke to Redacted. On November 6, 2020, the reporting detectives contacted the Cook County State's Attorney Felony Review Unit and informed them of Redacted's decision to no longer cooperate. On November 7, 2020, at 21:30 hours, ASA LaHood rejected first-degree murder charges on both Bradley and Pearson for the following reasons: lack of cooperation from Redacted, statement by the co-defendant Pearson, and no other physical cooperating evidence. The recovered evidence in this case has been submitted to ISP Forensic Center at Chicago for testing and analysis. All of the evidence has been examined, and the results do not contradict the facts of this case. The reporting detectives submit that it has been established to the satisfaction of the Chicago Police Department through the reporting detectives' investigation that Jonathan Bradley and Ricky Pearson were the individuals responsible for the shooting death of D'Artagnan Prince. The reporting detectives request that this case be cleared and closed exceptionally broad to prosecute by the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Detective Moore Gross and Detective Sullivan, Area 2, Homicide Unit. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. Peace.